Hey there, house hunters and bargain seekers. Today we're diving into something that sounds almost impossible in this crazy real estate market. We're talking about actual houses, real homes you can buy for around $32,000. No, I'm not joking. While people in big cities are paying that much just for a down payment, there are towns across America where that's the full price of a house. If you're serious about finding affordable real estate and want to see more content like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming. So buckle up as we explore 13 American towns where your dream of homeownership can become reality for the price of a decent used car. Let's kick things off with Gary, Indiana. Now, Gary has had its struggles, there's no denying that. This former steel town has seen better days, but that's exactly why houses here are incredibly cheap. You can find homes in Gary for well under $32,000, some even going for $10,000 to $15,000. The city sits right on Lake Michigan, giving it natural beauty that many expensive cities would kill for. Yes, the population has declined significantly since its heyday. And yes, some neighborhoods need serious revitalization. But here's the thing. If you're willing to put in some sweat equity and be part of a community that's slowly rebuilding, Gary offers opportunities that simply don't exist in more expensive markets. The proximity to Chicago, just about 30 miles away, means you're not completely isolated from big city amenities. Young entrepreneurs and artists have started moving in, seeing potential where others see problems. It's not for everyone, but for those with vision and a tight budget, Gary represents a genuine opportunity. Next up, we're heading to Detroit, Michigan. Yes, the Motor City itself. Now, Detroit's been the poster child for urban decline, but it's also been experiencing a genuine renaissance in recent years. While downtown and midtown have gotten pricier, there are still neighborhoods on the outskirts where you can snag properties for around $32,000 or less. These aren't just empty lots. We're talking about actual houses, often with beautiful historic architecture from Detroit's golden age. Brick bungalows, classic American foursquares, homes with character you simply can't find in modern construction. The catch is that many need renovation, sometimes extensive. But Detroit has been attracting young people, artists, and entrepreneurs who see opportunity in affordability. The city has better infrastructure than many small towns, with established utilities, public transportation, and services. Community gardens, art projects, and local businesses are sprouting up in neighborhoods that were written off a decade ago. If you're handy with tools or willing to learn, Detroit offers a chance to own a piece of American history for less than a new economy car. Now let's travel south to Bessemer, Alabama. Located just outside Birmingham, Bessemer is another former industrial town where housing prices have stayed remarkably low. You can find homes here in the $30,000 range, and unlike some places on this list, many are actually move-in ready or need only minor repairs. Bessemer has a warm climate, which means no harsh winters and lower heating costs. The town has a rich history in the steel and railroad industries, and while those glory days have passed, the community remains. You've got access to schools, hospitals, and shopping, plus you're close enough to Birmingham to enjoy a larger city's amenities when you want them. The cost of living overall is low, not just housing but groceries, utilities, and services. For retirees on fixed incomes or young families just starting out, Bessemer offers a chance to live debt-free or with minimal housing costs. The humidity might take some getting used to if you're from up north and the job market isn't booming, but if you work remotely or have retirement income, this could be your affordable paradise. Let's head to the heartland and talk about Kansas City. Kansas. Now, I'm not talking about the trendy parts of KC, but specific neighborhoods in Kansas City, Kansas, where prices have remained stubbornly low. These areas often get overlooked because they're not the hip, gentrified sections, but they offer genuine community and incredibly affordable housing. You can find small houses and starter homes for around $32,000, especially if you're willing to do some updating. The benefit here is that you're still in a real city with jobs, culture, sports teams, and everything else a metro area provides. The Kansas City metro has been growing, and as prices rise in popular areas, more people are discovering these affordable neighborhoods. The local barbecue alone makes it worth considering. You've got all 4 seasons, though winters can be cold and summers hot. And the schools vary by neighborhood, so do your research. But for someone who wants urban living without urban prices, certain parts of Kansas City, Kansas deliver exactly that. It's about finding the right block in the right neighborhood, but the deals are definitely there. Moving east, let's explore Youngstown, Ohio. This former steel manufacturing hub in the Rust Belt has some of the most affordable real estate in the entire country. Houses regularly sell for under $30,000, and we're not just talking about teardowns. You can find decent brick homes, multifamily properties, and houses with actual yards and garages. Youngstown's population peaked decades ago and has been declining since, leaving an oversupply of housing that keeps prices rock bottom. The city sits between Cleveland and Pittsburgh. Also, you're not totally isolated. Youngstown has been working on revitalization efforts, particularly around Youngstown State University, which brings some youthful energy to the area. Winters are cold and snowy, typical for Northeast Ohio. The job market has been challenging, which is a big reason prices are so low. However, for remote workers, retirees, or anyone with income not tied to the local economy, Youngstown offers incredible value. You could own your home outright for less than most people spend on rent in a year. That financial freedom alone makes it worth considering. Now we're going to talk about Flint, Michigan. Yes, Flint has had well-publicized problems, particularly with its water crisis, but the water situation has been largely addressed with pipe replacements and infrastructure improvements. Oh, what remains is a city with incredibly cheap real estate. You can buy houses in Flint for well under $32,000, sometimes for just a few thousand. Many need work, but others are surprisingly decent. Flint was once a thriving General Motors town with beautiful neighborhoods and solid housing stock. That architectural quality remains in many homes. The city is about an hour from Detroit and not far from Lansing, the state capital. If you're considering Flint, do thorough research on the specific neighborhood and definitely check the plumbing situation in any house you're interested in. The community is tight-knit in many areas, with residents who've stuck through tough times and are committed to their city's recovery, for bargain hunters with realistic expectations and some DIY skills. Flint presents opportunities that barely exist elsewhere in America. Just go in with your eyes open and do your homework. Let's head south again to Memphis, Tennessee. Now, Memphis proper has some expensive areas, but on the outskirts and in certain neighborhoods, you can still find houses around the $30,000 mark. Memphis gives you something many ultra-cheap housing markets don't have, a vibrant culture. This is the home of blues, soul, and rock and roll, the birthplace of Elvis's career, and a city with serious food culture. Memphis barbecue is world famous. You've got Beale Street, Graceland, the National Civil Rights Museum, and a real city feel. The climate is mild compared to northern states, though summers get hot and humid. The Mississippi River runs right through, giving the city geographic character. Yes, and certain neighborhoods have crime issues and the schools are hit or miss depending on location. But for someone who wants affordable home ownership in a city with actual culture and soul, Memphis delivers. The trick is finding the right neighborhood, talk to locals, visit multiple times, and do research. But deals absolutely exist if you know where to look. Next, we're exploring Niagara Falls, New York. Yes, the famous waterfall city itself. While the tourist areas and the falls are well maintained, the residential areas of Niagara Falls have struggled economically for years. This means housing prices have plummeted. You can find homes for around $32,000 or even less in certain parts of the city. These are often older homes that need updating, but they're real houses with actual rooms and yards. One of the benefits of Niagara Falls is that it's a real place with infrastructure, schools, hospitals, and services. You're close to Buffalo, which has been experiencing a revival. And obviously, you're living near one of the world's natural wonders. Winter is serious here. We're talking lake-effect snow and cold temperatures, so factor in heating costs. The Canadian border is right there, giving you international access. The job market has been tough, which keeps prices down, but for remote workers or retirees, that's less relevant. If you can handle cold winters and want to live near an iconic landmark for the price of a used sedan, Niagara Falls is worth investigating. Let's travel to Baltimore, Maryland. Now, Baltimore has expensive neighborhoods for sure, but it also has areas where houses sell for incredibly low prices. You can find properties in Baltimore for $30,000 or less, especially row houses that need renovation. Baltimore is a real city with a port, history, culture, and everything urban life offers. It's close to Washington, D.C., giving you access to one of the country's major metros. The Inner Harbor is beautiful, the city has great museums, and the food scene is underrated. Maryland blue crabs, anyone? The challenge with Baltimore is that it's very neighborhood-specific. Some blocks are great, others not so much, and they can be right next to each other. Crime is an issue in certain areas, so research is absolutely critical. The schools vary dramatically by neighborhood. But for urban lovers who want affordability near the nation's capital, Baltimore has opportunities. You could buy a row house, fix it up, and be in a city with jobs, culture, and access to major East Coast destinations. Just be smart about where you buy. Now we're heading to Cleveland, Ohio. The city on Lake Erie has been working hard on revitalization, and downtown has seen real improvement. But there are still neighborhoods where housing remains incredibly cheap. You can find houses in Cleveland for around $32,000 in areas that haven't yet gentrified. Cleveland has more going for it than people realize. It's got world-class healthcare with the Cleveland Clinic, a great food scene, professional sports teams, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and beautiful metro parks. Lake Erie provides beaches and recreation. The cost of living overall is low. Winters are cold and gray, which isn't everyone's cup of tea. The job market has improved, but isn't booming. However, for anyone with remote income or specific industries like healthcare, Cleveland offers genuine value. You're getting a real city with infrastructure, culture, and amenities for prices that seem impossible on the coasts. Certain neighborhoods are genuinely nice and just happen to be cheap because Cleveland overall hasn't been fashionable. That's changing, which means buying now could actually be smart. Let's explore East St. Louis, Illinois. This city across the river from St. Louis, Missouri, has some of the cheapest real estate in America. Houses sell for well under $32,000, often for just a few thousand. East St. Louis has faced serious economic challenges for decades, including population loss, crime, and disinvestment. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is a tough place with real problems. However, there are people who call it home and are working to improve things. If you're considering East St. Louis, you absolutely must visit, talk to residents, and understand what you're getting into. The advantage is the proximity to St. Louis proper, which has jobs, culture, and amenities. You're also near Scott Air Force Base, which provides some economic stability to the region. This isn't for everyone. In fact, it's for very few people. But for someone with a specific situation, perhaps working on the base or with strong community ties, the housing prices represent extreme affordability. Just know that the low prices reflect real challenges, not just market inefficiency. We're heading to Dayton, Ohio for our 12th town. Dayton is another Ohio city where Rust Belt economics have kept housing prices remarkably low. You can find houses for around $32,000 in certain neighborhoods, often with more space and better condition than similarly priced homes in other cities. Dayton has Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which is actually one of the largest military installations in the country and provides economic stability. The city has universities, hospitals, and a genuine downtown. It's the birthplace of aviation, where the Wright brothers did their work, and has museums reflecting that heritage. Dayton is more affordable than Columbus or Cincinnati, but still offers city amenities. The winters are cold but not as brutal as cities further north. The cost of living overall is low. For military families, contractors, or anyone working in aerospace, Dayton makes particular sense. For others, it's a place where you can own a home for almost nothing and have money left over for actually living life. The housing stock is often solid, built during Dayton's more prosperous times, which means you're getting quality construction at bargain prices. Finally, let's wrap up with Macon, Georgia. This middle Georgia city offers southern charm and seriously affordable real estate. You can find houses in and around Macon for $32,000 or less, particularly outside the most desirable historic districts. Macon has a musical legacy. It's the hometown of the Allman Brothers and Little Richard, and has beautiful antebellum architecture in certain areas. The climate is warm, meaning no harsh winters and lower heating bills. You're about an hour and a half from Atlanta, so not completely isolated from a major metro. Macon has colleges, including Mercer University, which brings some educational and cultural life. The downtown has been seeing revitalization efforts. The job market is modest, based largely on healthcare, education, and distribution. For retirees, remote workers, or anyone wanting a slower-paced Southern lifestyle, Macon delivers affordability with actual charm. The summers are hot and humid, which takes adjustment. But you're getting a real town with history, culture, and community, not just cheap houses in a place with nothing else. For the price of a mid-range used car, you could own a piece of the South and live in a place with actual character. So there you have it, 13 American towns where you can buy a house for around $32,000. Now, I want to be crystal clear about something. These ultra-low prices exist for reasons. These aren't vacation destinations or places with booming economies. Most have faced population loss, economic challenges, or other issues that have depressed real estate values. But that doesn't mean they're bad places to live for the right person. If you work remotely, if you're retired with fixed income, if you're willing to be part of community rebuilding, or if you simply want to own your home outright and live debt-free, these places offer opportunities that don't exist elsewhere. Before you buy anywhere, visit multiple times, talk to locals, research crime statistics, check the schools if you have kids, understand the job market, and inspect any property thoroughly. Many of these houses need work, sometimes a lot of work. Factor in renovation costs. But even with repairs, and you could own a home for less than a year's rent in expensive cities. In a world where housing affordability is a crisis, these towns represent an alternative path. They're not for everyone, maybe not even for most people. But for some, they're exactly what's needed. A chance at the American dream of home ownership at a price that's actually achievable. If this video got you thinking about possibilities, smash that like button and subscribe for more real estate content. Drop a comment telling me which of these towns surprised you most, or if you've lived in any of them. Thanks for watching, and remember, affordable homeownership still exists in America if you know where to look. Now, before you go rushing off to make an offer on a $32,000 house, let me share some practical wisdom that could save you thousands of dollars and a whole lot of headache. The first thing you need to understand is that buying a cheap house is very different from buying an affordable house. A cheap house usually means there's a reason it's cheap beyond just the local market. You need to get a professional home inspection, and I mean a thorough one. Don't skip this step because you're excited about the price. Have an inspector check the foundation, the roof, the plumbing, the electrical system, and the structural integrity. These are the things that cost tens of thousands to fix if they go wrong. A house that looks charming from the outside might have foundation issues, mold in the walls, or outdated electrical. That's a fire hazard. That inspection fee, usually between $300 and $500, is the best investment you could possibly make. Next, think carefully about financing. Many banks are hesitant to lend on properties under $50,000, and some won't do it at all. You might need to save up to pay cash, or you might need to find a lender who specializes in these types of deals. Some people use personal loans or portfolio lenders. Do your research on financing options before you fall in love with a property, because discovering after the fact that you can't get financing is heartbreaking and wasteful. Also, consider that property taxes, insurance, and utilities exist even in cheap houses. Sometimes these monthly costs are still substantial depending on the location. Factor those into your budget before you decide it's truly affordable for you. Let's talk about the renovation reality check. If a house needs work, get actual quotes from contractors before you buy. Don't guess. Don't think you can DIY everything if you've never done it before. Renovations take longer and cost more than almost everyone expects. There's a reason that home improvement shows take months to film but only show a few hours of content. If you're not experienced, you might end up spending more on fixes than the house was worth in the first place. Get contractor quotes, add 30% to account for unexpected problems, and then decide if it still makes financial sense. Consider the neighborhood deeply. Affordability doesn't mean anything if you don't feel safe or if your quality of life suffers. Drive through at different times of day and night. Talk to neighbors. Visit local parks, shops, and restaurants. Ask about the schools, on not just their ratings, but what parents actually think. Check police reports and crime statistics for that specific neighborhood. Walk around and feel the community vibe. Some cheap neighborhoods are in the early stages of revitalization with genuine potential. Others are struggling for good reasons and showing no signs of improvement. Your gut feeling after actually visiting is important data. Don't ignore it just because the price is right. Think about your exit strategy. What if you need to move in 2 years? Can you sell this house, or will you be stuck holding property nobody wants? Some of these towns have steady populations of people, meaning there's actually a market for housing. Others have declining populations, which means fewer buyers. That matters for your ability to leave if circumstances change. And some people buy these houses planning to live there forever, and that works great. Others see them as investments, hoping appreciation will happen. Be realistic about which camp you're in and what's actually likely to happen. The remote work advantage cannot be overstated. If your income doesn't depend on the local job market, you have a huge advantage in these markets. You can afford to live somewhere cheap while earning money that would be impossible to make locally. That fundamentally changes the economics. But if you need local employment, you need to research the job market deeply. Call recruiters, look at job postings, talk to people actually working there. Don't assume you can just find work. The job market in these towns exists for a reason, and sometimes it's not good. Community matters more than you might think. Moving to a place where you know nobody is a bigger deal than many people realize. Some of these towns have tight-knit communities that welcome newcomers. Others can feel isolating and disconnected. If you're from a big city and move to a small town, that's a culture shock that might not be pleasant. If you value a vibrant social scene and cultural activities, some of these places might feel quiet and slow. That's not bad, but it's real, and you need to be honest with yourself about whether you'll actually enjoy it. Don't get caught in the scarcity mindset trap. Yes, these prices seem incredible compared to coastal real estate, but that doesn't mean you should buy immediately without thinking. A house you can afford to buy is only a good deal if it's a house you actually want to live in. Don't purchase something just because it's cheap. So make sure it checks boxes on your actual needs list. Location, condition, community, local amenities, climate, everything matters. The fact that it costs $32,000 should be a bonus, not the only reason you're buying. Consider your life stage and trajectory. If you're 30 and planning to build a career, these towns might not work for you even with remote work. If you're 65 and retired, they might be perfect. If you're raising a family, schools matter hugely. If you're single and adventurous, different things matter. Where you are in life absolutely influences whether a particular ultra-affordable housing market makes sense for you. A decision that's perfect for one person at one stage of life might be completely wrong for someone else. Be honest about your actual situation and needs. Well, one more thing to really consider, the emotional and psychological aspect of moving to a struggling town. Some people feel inspired by the opportunity to be part of a community rebuilding itself. That's genuinely motivating for them. Others find it depressing to be surrounded by economic decline. Some love being part of a small community. Others feel lonely and isolated. These are real factors that affect quality of life. You can't just math your way into a good decision. You have to feel genuinely excited about the place, not just the price. The beautiful thing about these 13 towns and many others like them is that they prove home ownership is still achievable in America if you're willing to think differently. You don't have to accept that you'll be a renter forever or that home ownership is impossible on a normal income. You just have to be willing to consider places that other people are overlooking. That takes courage, but it also opens doors. So do your research. Visit in person, talk to people who live there, inspect properties thoroughly, and then make a decision based on facts and feelings combined. If you do this right, you could genuinely own your home outright and have the financial freedom that comes with it. That's a powerful thing in today's economy. Thanks so much for watching this entire video. If you found value in it, please hit that subscribe button because we're making more content about real estate, affordable living, and creative solutions to life's biggest challenges. Leave a comment and let me know your thoughts on these towns or if you have other affordable markets we should explore. I really do read the comments and your suggestions help shape future videos. See you in the next one.